Hi everyone, how you going? I thought I'd have a bit of a chat about today's antics with the Murdoch media, 7 News, right, the Courier Mail, all of the articles regarding the cashless debit card. It seems very convenient that it's being used as a distraction to take people's focus of the sex scandals and the misogyny and the treatment of women overall away from the government and put it back into let's welfare bash everybody. But they're forgetting one thing. The majority of people on the cashless debit card are women with children, single parents. I'd like to ask my members on this page, as you're going through the comments on 7 News, go to their Facebook pages, okay? And the comments on the Courier Mail and the comments on the Daily Mercury in Mackay and the Dalby paper and Daily Mail Australia. Please screenshot the abusive comments towards single women, single mothers, right? That shows the bullying and the slut shaming, because that's all it is, right? And the way women are being viewed and treated in this country for being parents, for being carers, and the constant push to keep those women at heel in poverty and abused. Right? So if you see derogatory comments aimed at single mums and stuff like that, yeah, the blokes too, but we want to build this picture up, because all the last 2 weeks has been about all these women and sexual assaults and rapes. Well, who do you think's been put on the card the most? Women that have survived domestic violence, sexual assault and rape. People who have already suffered lifetimes of abuse are being further abused, right? And then to see the comments, the misogynistic, the sexist, the nasty comments online all day. I am absolutely furious along with Tina, right? It is not good enough. The disrespect that's being shown towards parents, right? And some of the nasty comments. You know, one of them I featured in a live that I did on my personal page earlier today with a guy on the Dalby paper carrying on about, well, women shouldn't have had children that they can't afford to keep. Excuse us? You know, this is disgusting. And let's not get distracted about what this government is doing to the whole of this country. So, quick, deflect. What's an easy subject to do? Get the public kicking the poor again, right? The fact that the majority of the poor people you're kicking could you be your mum, but you don't care. I'm sick to death of these trolls and these attitudes of these people that are ignorant, who got their fingers in their ears, and the comments are so nasty from some of these people, right? And trying to educate them. You know, and the articles are just bullshit, lies, and it just carries on the same spiel over and over and over again. People need to understand that was what Goebbels' platform was for Hitler. Repeat a lie over and over and over again so that people ignore the truth. And it's not good enough. We will keep continuing to share the truth and the impacts of this card on real people. Not one of these articles mentions the human impact of this card on families, on parents, on people, the suicides, the loss of financial autonomy, the financial destruction, the loss of hope, right? The homelessness issues, the card declines. Oh, yes, we'll say it's $400,000 because they all tried to buy booze. What a load of crap that is. I can't believe the Australian public are actually falling for this. And what sort of people support this kind of apartheid and think it's all cool and okay to physically sell an Australian citizen to a private company without their consent for the measly price of $12,000 in the beginning, and then ongoing costs of around about $1,500 a year, right? And that person is now locked out of the rule of law, non-discrimination and presumption of innocence. is locked out of our consumer laws protections, Social Security Act's protections, has lost their privacy, their autonomy, their self-determination. I'm thoroughly sick of us being treated as though we're units for sale to Indu or to the credit unions or the banks, right? And all day I've been angry about this. Now, I did an interview for Triple M. I've just got to sort out the download for the video, because the only way we could actually upload it to this page would be, we made a video to go with it, which shows the stories of card holders and the difficulties that they had, you know what I mean? And I'll be uploading that later. But I'm asking you people out there to not only comment on all these posts, and it's a real pain, I know, but you need to educate, you need to keep going, right? But write letters to the editors, and if so, go and start ringing up these ministers and calling them out for this disgusting display of welfare bashing that I've seen today, and this codswallop clinging on to bullshit and how it works, you know. So, Olivia says here, when these 2,456 people, to be exact, are put on the card in the Hinkler region, okay, that's just the Hinkler region. We're not talking about the other regions yet. All right, in the next 2 months, a lot of these people will have a what the fuck moment, as a lot of them will understand what you and everyone else has been stating, all right, after spending months and years saying that people are bullshitting about the card. Yes, a lot of those people are going to get a wake-up call, because when the card came out, they had full-time jobs and they thought they were safe, and the pandemic took that away from them, right? And all of a sudden, they're going to find out what it's like. You know, what can we do? Stick to the facts, share the information from SN7 resources, keep sharing that information over and over and over again, right? This isn't about New World Order. This is just our government's privatisation of our Social Security, because our Social Security, all right, is not supposed to be privatised. It's our government shirking its responsibility to the Australian people, all right, and selling things off to their mates. Okay, that's purely what it's about. It's about profits for their mates, right? They don't care about the human impact, right? So, a lot of other people, comments are still on the Courier Mail. Hi Darren, how you going? We have got to keep up the pressure with sharing the correct information, right? And, we have to keep going. We have to keep going. We can't stop. And we need to get... I've done 2 media today, all right? I did Triple M, Wide Bay. Now, that won't be aired as a whole interview. They're going to cut it up and use little sound bites throughout the news bulletins tomorrow. Most of the time, I don't listen to the radio. In fact, tomorrow, I will be watching or listening Senate estimates on the cashless debit card. Okay? So don't forget that's on tomorrow. So we get to learn all the nitty gritty again. And Rachel Seward's going to put forward lots of questions. You know, the senators get to question them again about the costs. Of course, it's only about money. You know what I mean? I did an interview for the Bundaberg Today paper, which gets published on Friday. And he put a call out for card holders to speak to him, which I know at least one card holder stuck their hand up and said, yes, I'm going to, which is really good. And I need more card holders to stick their hand up. I'm just sick of this. We're all spending all of our money on alcohol and drugs. If that was true, we would have 12,000 homeless families sitting on the street. I mean, the stupidity to even suggest that's what we all spend all of our money on. I'm so peed off because I don't drink. I just don't drink. It's really odd visiting someone's house and having to say, I need to go to the shop and get some Coke, because there were normal people and they had beer and they had wine for dinner, and I don't drink. But in their household, that's a normal thing to have. You know, in my household, it doesn't come into the equation. I can't afford it. I don't buy it. Simple. You know what I mean? I'm so over the welfare bashing. And I suppose they had to distract, because it's the only thing I've seen on my news feed all day long is controversial welfare cards. $400,000 worth of bullshit stats again, right? Meanwhile, all hell's been breaking loose in Parliament, and I've missed it all because it's all been distracted by this, right? This is a distraction, I feel. Okay, so 7 News Adelaide put up the thing, and straight away, we need it here in Whyalla, as we've had certain influx of residents move here from other rural towns that have the card system. So they moved here not to have the card, hence the crime in our town has escalated through the roof. Really, if you want the card in your town, your crime will go even further up, right? You know, they've had these in the Northern Territory for years, and they never seem to get any credit. Using the card, you can purchase essentials and use taxis to go to all the important job interviews. Use a taxi to go to a job interview? What sort of friggin'... But you can't use a bus. And in the Northern Territory, you can't use a taxi because e-payments, taxi payments are banned. So some of these people are stupid. So the comments here are stupid again. This will absolutely have people spending less on booze and cigarettes. Honestly, again, well, because of buying that stuff, people will buy food and essentials and then sell those essentials for half the price so they can get cash to buy booze and cigarettes. So they have... These people have no clue. You can buy your cigarettes on the card. A lot of these half-witted comments, I confidently say almost none of you have been on this card, i.e. Basics card. You cannot buy alcohol. You cannot buy gift cards. You cannot gamble. You can pay your rent. You can pay your reg. Oh, God. Here we go. It's not a hard thing to use. A little alienating, though, admittedly. Oh, really? Okay. So, 7 News Adelaide has all these... another John Smith. This is an excellent idea. Implement it ASAP. My tax has been wasted for far too long. If these deadbeats can't do the right thing and they don't like the idea of this card, then don't give them any money. I mean, this is bullshit speak from LNP trolls, right? This is the second time I've heard that if people don't want it, cut them off. All right? Ian Zunker says, I didn't need video security on my home before the Indu card came to Bundaberg. And I bet your insurance premium's gone up too, Ian. Right? Yeah, it's somebody on the page said homeless people don't pay rent. Trying to explain that they became homeless because of the card is like pulling teeth. Yeah, homeless people may not pay rent, but they've still got to go to work, or they've still got to get their kids to school. Where are they supposed to sleep? How stupid is that, honestly? It's just... I am exhausted from this today, and I need more people to go to these pages and set these people straight. Honestly, some of these people just have no idea, unless they've just employed a whole range of trolls, which is probably more the truth of it, because I can't believe how many people all of a sudden think it's okay to dehumanise another fellow Australian, right? And how dare... I mean, some of the comments that I've seen of what people... We're back to that stage of where people seem to think people shouldn't have anything. So, Anne Jones, 7 News Adelaide Facebook page. That one needs a good dose of facts dumped on that page. I know that Tina Clausen's been going all day and the others have been going all day as well. Because all I'm seeing on here is, if my hard-earned tax money is going to go to people in unfortunate situations, 100% not be able to spend on grog and gambling. You know, it is just crazy. Yeah, oh, somebody managed to squeeze in and it stops mums from paying things like dance and netball and basketball. Maybe stop punishing the many for the actions of the few. Are these people just purposely dumb? Don't they understand what removal of your rights means? You know what I mean? Yeah, it's just crazy. And you got others here that are supporting the random drug testing. I'm just over it. I haven't got the energy at the moment to... Oh, don't know why it's dehumanizing. I don't want my tax money being spent on someone's addictions. It's meant for food and necessities. But you pin these people down, ask them what they think a necessity is. Right? I've had a lot of them today that don't think stuff for your kids is a necessity. Basically, your rent and electricity and a little bit of home brand food is what they... We're back to those sort of trolls again. You know? Oh, good, now the children of drug addicts might actually get some food in the cupboards. Or even a packed lunch for school. This assumption that we're all drug addicts has to stop. And I'm getting to the point where I don't know how... We saw 2 weeks ago all those thousands and thousands and thousands of women come out. So why won't they stand up for themselves with us against the poverty that they're being driven into? How many of those women receives family tax payments and social security payments? Why won't they stand with us in this fight against this card, which will impact them and their families too as it creeps around the country? That's my thing, right? Why are poorer women left to be treated like this, right? And welfare bashed and branded as drug addicts, right? I'm sick to death of it, I really am. As you can tell, I'm still really angry. I did my first interview this morning really angry. You will hear it. I was absolutely furious, right? Centrelink is a privilege, not a right. Be thankful you get anything. I'm sick to death of that mentality. Social security is a right under international law, of which this country is signed up to that ratification, right? It is a right under Australian social security law, Commonwealth Act 1991, 1999. The right to social security for every citizen that is deemed eligible. It is a right, and people need to start fighting to protect that right, because every time somebody doesn't stand up and protect a right, you will lose that right. This country needs to stand up and fight to protect the rights that we do still have, right? Ron, that's a good comment. His pharmacist objects to being called a drug dealer. Yeah, you know. Yeah, so, Murdoch manure. Yeah, it is Murdoch manure. No, it's caused a lot of ruckus today. Asked the Centrelink lady her thoughts on this, and she said she does whatever legislation the government tells them to do. Okay. It's just ridiculous. And the assumption it's just for people on unemployment. We've got so many families struggling under this card. You know, you got somebody bullshitting here. Oh, when I was unemployed here in SA, I was on it. I'm actually grateful for it. It made me money smart. Bring it back. Well, where was he? Was he in Seduna? Because it never went anywhere. It's been there. This is coming in for 6 years now. I'm sick of welfare bludgers and then people trying to justify their bullying comments. Oh, I'm not talking about the genuine welfare recipients. You know, good. Being on the dole isn't for spending on booze and pokies. Don't like it. Go get a job. It's like a time warp, and I'm exhausted. I'm just reading the comments here. Scott Morrison has unleashed a torrent of hate towards women by promoting this bullshit story today. Yep. Absolutely. I am so sick to death of being... another odd thing too. So 7 News had their article about it today, right? Might be a minor thing. I've spoken to the media so many times. But I've only done 2 media interviews today. Okay? I did one for Triple M Wide Bay, which will be broken up into little snippets throughout the news bulletins throughout the day. And I did one for Bundaberg Today newspaper, which comes out on Friday. And yet, on the news article that is here from 7news.com.au, right, Australia's unemployed facing controversial cashless welfare cards again. Right at the bottom of it, they have quoted me. Obviously, they've taken these quotes from another interview that I've done in the past or wherever. But I was not interviewed by Channel 7 today on this, okay? But they've just come back with, on the bottom of it, Catherine Wilkes, who leads the group called the No Cashless Debit Card Australia, said the program was causing serious harm to the most vulnerable members of the community. She said they were struggling to cope with having daily choices stripped from their hands. It has failed to meet its own objectives. It has failed on human and economic rights grounds, right? I've said that in the past. That's fine that they've said that. I would have appreciated if Channel 7 were going to let me know that this article existed, that I'm being named in. You know what I mean? That's all and maybe an update comment would have been nice. But, yeah, I'm just a little bit... I was quite shocked to see that when I hadn't done an interview for them today regarding this. So I'm just looking at the comments. I can't be the only warrior. You guys out there need to help and do more and do, you know, and write letters to the editors, right? And keep writing letters to the editors, and when they get published, show us a screenshot of it or let us know what paper it's in or something like that, right? Keep up the pressure on the senators, and if you feel like going and sitting outside a government MP's office and protesting, do it, right? Do a video of your protest against the card and send it to us so we can air it. If you're on the card and having difficulties with the card and have been screwed over, tell us. Share your stories with us, right? We need the ammunition to keep the fight going, and we need people to keep fighting. Okay? So, Suf says, dumb fact, 86% mostly Indigenous Australians on his cashless debit card scheme are women. Yes, that was the facts that came out. That was the facts. Right, with children on social security, hang on, due to no fault of their own, domestic violence in all rollout regions has risen due to homelessness, can't pay cash rent, and rental stress due to the card not working. Then when a woman tried to flee, she isn't allowed to rent a motel room. It's restricted. Just abolished a whole bunch of workers' rights too, and introduced a job seeker scheme which opens up all kinds of avenues for coercive control. Absolutely. ScoMo does not care for the safety of women. Of course not. Of course not. right? Because all week we have seen how he feels about women. He hasn't got a clue, right? But he's opening up all these policies that encourage coercive control, which will put women in a situation of feeling obliged, right? Or else threatened, right? And basically have no choices. So I'm going to go over to Twitter for a minute, because some of the comments regarding the cashless debit card, hang on, from Sano7, right? Again, when I get frustrated, I lose my words because I get so angry, and so many other people can articulate how I'm feeling, and so people have to understand, people working 30 hours a week receiving $1 from Centrelink, right, including family tax B, are on the cards, all right? And that needs to be out there a lot more. It's not about unemployed people. People need to share the restrictable payments list and let people know about it. Do you know what I mean? All of the payments plus distant education plus age pension currently limited to Cape York, all on the card right now. Some of the I'm just looking. Yeah, you can buy alcohol and not food in some places. All of the people from England Coast have to do same result to travel to the Sunshine Coast. LNP have known this since 2018 and done nothing, just kept lying to the public. You know what I mean? There's just lies and lies and lies. Coercion and control like abuse and violence cannot be considered acceptable when it happens to some people and be upheld as a crime for other people. If you can't be inclusive, you can only be an enabler of abuse. And how true that is. Right? Seriously, you can't stand out there going, it's a crime to be abusive to women, and then impose this sort of abusive control on women. And, I'm just so sick of this, I really am. The card has not met one objective, all right, or one program KPI in 5 years of operation. It just hasn't. The silence and hypocrisy ongoing about the lives of women and children living in poverty being forced onto IndyCards and abused by this government is deafening. Apparently only white, privileged, able-bodied, employed lives matter. Because that's the way it feels. You know what I mean? Women are being denied advancement en masse via the imposition of these cards. Carers, women with disabilities, young girls being raped, plied with alcohol, cash by staffers. Did all this somehow slip past everyone? Hello? I'm being a bit narky here, and so we should be, because why should poor women be getting kicked down like this? We're not sure how things keep slipping past our learned sisterhood, given what went down in the basics card income management zone went public. Maybe if women in poverty had listened to the PM and C, could have been held to account a lot sooner. A man who works for PM's department charged with child sexual abuse. Alright, that was a Guardian article from 2018. Again, why have Anne Ruston and Scott Morrison not mentioned Indu card deaths in Hinkler card zone? Why not? No press on that. 8 kids gone in 8 weeks. Ages 12 to 19. We don't know if the families were on the card, but whatever it is, that's removing the hope from our kids. Right? Number 1 for homelessness in Queensland. That's a really big trophy to have, isn't it? So another 2,456 people are about to face this in Hinkler starting in April, as the cap on forced cardholders is gone, and those who lost jobs in the last year now on payments and now new targets. What happened to all women's lives matter? When it comes to women in poverty, crickets. All I've seen today is welfare bashing and slut shaming. That's basically what I've seen today. And attacks on single parents and single mums. You know what I mean? That's all I've seen today from these nasty trolls. It's dehumanising for people to be on the Indie card. Yes, it is. Scummo is coming across as the biggest woman hater out there. Cassandra says, the card brings back so much from my past DVs due to how controlling the card is. Yes, but it does. Singing the same thing. Trying to tell one guy about the age pension of the card. Nope. He wouldn't hear it. No age pension is going onto the card at all, period. Card. Yeah, it's just ridiculous what people... It's so hard. Like now I have a newborn son and moved to Brisbane. The card is getting worse for me. Being told how to pay a bill and allow to have my money like is not just non-needed stress. Absolutely. I'm wondering if it's really useful to speak against attack mode at a person's political view. As how do you view that will help persuade your public? I don't know what you mean by that. I'm sick to death of women who are poor being marginalised and being kicked in the guts all the time. 86% of people on this card are women and parents and carers, right? And I'm sick to death of the disrespect, right? It's not okay to disrespect your mum and your grandparents or your sister or your niece, right? And yet these trolls do, right? You know, they say get a job. We've got working people on the, working people on the card. And we'll have a lot more working people on the card because there aren't the full-time jobs out there. And this constant work. So, So this country is just focused on selling citizens for profit, basically. And it got too hot in the kitchen for Scott Morrison today, so it was turn on the welfare bashing. Throw out the cashless debit card with no more crap attached to it, right? And stir up the people against the people again, right? And it's just cruel. It is just cruel. And I'm getting tired of it. And people need to stand up and just... It's not good enough. It's not good enough. Alright? I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to go do your best to spread the information that's correct to these sites. Yeah. I would love to be able to go somewhere and say, stand with me, and have 500 people stand with me. Right? That's what we need. We need people to stand up. Have you had enough of being accused of being a drug addict, an alcoholic? Have you had enough of being kicked while you're down? Because I have. And I get out there all the time because I'm sick of it. I didn't ask to be on a DSP. I didn't ask to get injured at work. I didn't ask to live in poverty for the rest of my life. And I certainly, will fight to keep my rights under law as much as I possibly can. But this is government endorsed abuse. And I'm not forgetting the guys that are on it have very little to do with guys because they won't speak up about it. They get very depressed, and it's like, yeah, Adelaide's got some really nasty, ignorant people. Really, there's some really nasty comments on that page. Tina, it's just shocking. So Senate estimates are on tomorrow. This should be interesting. Any policy that results in somebody taking their own life, self-harming, ended up with heart disease, broken heart syndrome, ends up with people being medicated in order to cope, people becoming reclusive, kids are excluded, is more than a bad policy, and it should be scrapped. I guess to clarify, its political bashing doesn't seem to make change happen. COVID did bring people together across the political landscape. Well, it didn't get anybody anywhere because everybody's gone back to let's lay the boot in as soon as they can, right? This government is disgusting. And I still can't believe anybody would vote for the LNP as a whole after what we've seen in the last couple of weeks and the way they treat Australians with the punitive policies that they are imposing, and now the austerity to come. Right? The austerity to come is going to destroy so many more people. I mean, it's not as if, the COVID supplement ends in a couple of weeks' time, which is going to put more people at risk of homelessness in our region. But to have the card slapped on you as well. Julie, what you do is you go to, you can watch Parliament on your computer, go to Parliament Watch, and then you can look to see where it is. But I'll find the link. I'll post the link when I find it in the morning anyway. The link will be on the page to be able to go and view or listen. It depends on whether we can see it or hear it. Okay. I just need to find out what time it starts. And then we have to listen to it for the whole day, and you work out which tranches are for Social Security for the cashless debit card. So, anyway, I'm going to go. It's late for me. I've been at this all day. I'm exhausted. I'm frustrated. I'm still angry, and it's not good enough. Right, this policy and all the other punitive social safety net policies, they're destroying the safety net, destroying people, and it's just not good enough. This is not the way to treat Australian citizens. So, anyway. Alright guys,